Oh boy, I love the topic of ignorance and stupidity. I really do. And that's probably because I'm surrounded by all kinds of people. So I have friends that are like super smart and really intellectually driven, and they can win any argument, just highly educated. It used to existing in this space of people who speak really high level and make sense of everything. And then other people that are, what I would call really like probably just finished high school, maybe not even, but really whippersnapper and street smart. And then in between there, there's this little wave of people that I love to watch that like independent of this like intellectualism they have, whether they learned it on the street or at a higher institution, is this attachment to their emotions. I'm fascinated with this wave of emotion and how it threads itself between all kinds of people in all kinds of ways, educated, non-educated, street smart, book smart, and then how we are to come together when the idiocy in us, the pride in us, the need for validation in us insists that we may remain highly emotionally attached or highly intellectually prideful. And it's sort of like, well, like, how do you really be able to balance those things? How do you validate your feelings and be like, wow, I'm actually okay with feeling shame or guilt or even self-disgust or repression or anxiety or stress, and really try to understand what those feelings mean without getting like mired down into the bog of them, whilst also being, I guess, on some level, very pragmatic about your approach to understanding your emotions. And this is the crux of the problem, at least for me and a lot of people I know, where it's like people's opinions are peppered, not even peppered, that's not the right word, like strongly founded and grounded in a lot of emotionalism attached to what they think about how the world works. And so, whatever beliefs, limiting beliefs, perceptions you have about the world, especially as far as things that are very hot topics, like politics and race and equality and or climate change or whatever it is, that you're attached to because you're like, I'm really, really fervent about this because addressing it is going to make the world a better place. Even those things, although benevolent in their motive, have pride attached to them, have ego attached to them very, very frequently. And so, when I start attaching like externalized needs for validation, and when I start like becoming attached to my emotions because they're so, so important, and don't you ever deny my emotions or tell me that my feelings are wrong, I'm out of whack. Because right off the bat, it's like, I shouldn't give a shit what you think about how I feel. Like, I don't need anybody to validate that I should or shouldn't feel a certain way, or I can or cannot, or do not have the right to feel a certain way. And when I take all that stuff out of the way, when I get it all, push it all aside, when I strip it off the top, and it's just me and my emotions, I can validate the bejesus out of myself and really get firmly founded in, wow, I'm this pure feeling of whatever the feeling is, be it like the heights of the high or the lowest of the low, right? Because I've removed this need for other people to make sense of and validate it. And I have this process where I'm like, what is this? What is this feeling telling me about myself? What is the information that I need to glean from it to discover more about who I am, how useful I can be in the world, what's happening around me, and even how I can dissect information that's coming at me about important worldly stuff that I care about, right? So I may not be like fervently attached to, say, for example, the issue of climate change, but I do care about things like how I'm living as a human being and how it's affecting other beings and how it's affecting the ecosystem, and how can I do my part as an individual to change the way I use technology, use devices, move through the world in my car to make sure that my carbon footprint remains low, right? And for me, those things are important to think about. But back to the issue of idiocy and this ignorance that is just so strongly attached to how I feel about something that I actually have strong intellectual opinions about. And it's like I'm vacillating between the highly emotional and the highly intellectual. And I don't ever enter this space in the middle, which is just me. It's just me, right? Highly smart, deeply emotional, very grounded in intuition. And let me just end with that. The place in the middle is a highly intuitive sense of self that understands the intellect and that is completely compassionate to the emotional so that I can just be. I'm being in this space called the middle, which is just me. And I don't have the need to like validate my emotions to you. I don't need you to validate mine. And I don't need to constantly be spouting about what my intellectual opinions are in a way that's like you can't debate it with me, or I'm not open to having a conversation or gaining clarity, right? So this is the space that I'm looking for. This is the space where I'm not an idiot. That has nothing to do with my street smarts or my book smarts. It has to do with the humility is really what it is. Humility is beyond my pride, beyond my intellect, beyond my emotions. It's a place where I am that I am, and I know that I am. And I need no proving, and I need no validation, right? That's the most powerful place to be. And if you don't know how to be there, I welcome you to get in touch with me, and we can talk about how you can get there, because I can tell you based on my own experience, etc. Thanks for spending time with me today as usual, and I hope you all have a good day. Ciao.